want to talk about how I got Freddie, my son, who has just turned 6 months old, to sleep longer in the day, have really big, long, juicy naps, and also sleep all night. Let's start at the beginning of your day. One thing that I did that started to change the entire game for me was create a routine that we do every time Freddie goes to sleep. Now this is key. I'm not really a routine person, but it's literally saved my life. Every day I kind of stick to the same routine. Obviously babies don't really know what time it is and things, but I think they can still pick up on those clues about what time. Every single day has a specific rhythm. So say Freddie's woke up at 7, I will have a 2 or 2.5 hour gap there where we will play, we will have development, we will get lots of maybe go outside, go on a walk, and then once it gets to about 2 hours and 15 minutes, I have like a 15-minute relaxing and calming time. So what we tend to do is we tend to go upstairs to his room and create a nice calm environment. He even can still be playing for a few minutes, but it's more of a calm play, maybe leaving him to play on his own for a little while with a little toy that doesn't light up and doesn't really make any musical noises, and have that time where he can do quiet play. Then I like to change him so he's nice and clean, so he's not waking up because he's got a dirty nappy, and put him in his sleeping bag. Once he's in his sleeping bag, I start to dim the lights and we sit down and we read a book. And once we've read the book and speak in like a quiet tone, you know, this isn't like playtime, this is bedtime, and then I shut the curtains and I give him a little cuddle and I sing a little song to him. So once I've sung that little song to him, every single time we do exactly the same thing. We do change the book, obviously, for development reasons. Song is the same. Again, it's a very gentle and calming song. I give him a little cuddle and then I lie him down awake. I remember when people used to say to me, awake but drowsy, and I used to think, are you out of your mind? Like, or you will only go to sleep when I'm rocking him or feeding him to sleep. So this video is also going to talk about how to put your baby down awake but drowsy and not need to feed him to sleep or rock him for hours on end, which drove me crazy, which I'm sure it did you too. A lot of experts say that they can then associate feeding with falling to sleep, so then every time they wake up they want to be fed again, or they can associate being rocked with falling asleep. Now again, I don't really agree with that. I think you should do whatever you think is best for your baby, but it wasn't really working for us because he was having those frequent wakings, he was having really short naps, he was so grumpy and he only wanted to be held. So what the routine and everything that I've gone through will help is to help create a safety net for him. He feels safe, he knows it's bedtime, he knows this cycle that's going to happen. I'm going to have a nice time with my mummy and my daddy, we're going to have cuddles, we're going to have a story, then you're going to go to sleep, and then when I wake up, again, creating a safe environment again. It's happy, it's safe, you do not need to worry. That's the mission we have. One thing that we don't really do is let our baby cry for long periods of time. I know this can be really effective and I've got nothing against people that do that, but that's just not what we did. And had we gone, you know, another few months with it being a massive issue for us, Freddie sleeping, maybe we would have done. So there's no judgment there, but that's not what we do. However, what we do is we assess the situation, because Freddie likes to grumble and groan and be a bit like fussy sometimes. He doesn't just like go down and fall straight to sleep. And I think that is a bit of a myth from these people that say, oh, my baby just goes down and all of a sudden he's asleep. You know, babies are just human beings. They want to get comfortable, they might not be too happy, they might be a bit cold. There's loads of stuff that goes into it. So Freddie likes to just wobble around a bit, like roll around on his side, things like that, make noises and things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he wants me to come in and make a fuss of him, okay? It might just mean that he's just trying to figure out which way he wants to sleep, you know, having a little chat with himself. So one thing that I've learned is to just not go in unless he's genuinely wanting me. And how I know that he wants me is when he's crying and he's really distressed, and I will go in. So yeah, we don't go in straight away. Sometimes I've left it like 10-15 minutes of him just grumbling about, and then he'll finally find a nice position and he'll go to sleep. He feels calm, remember, because we've set up that environment of calm and safety and cuddles and lots of love. So we also create a really dark environment to increase the chances of him having a longer nap, because I don't know about you, but I love sleeping in the dark. That's how we're biologically meant to sleep. We're meant to sleep at night. All of our biology is set up for that dark environments, and it's no different just because they're sleeping in the day, because they need just as much sleep sometimes in the day as they do at night. Kind of. So we've got blackout curtains in his room. I must admit there is a bit of light coming through, which we can't help, from the ensuite and another door that we've got, but we try and create the darkest environment that we can. And we also use a white noise. We haven't got any of those fancy machines. We literally just say to Alexa, please play a white noise playlist, and this seems to play it for a couple of hours, and it really should be on the whole time of the nap. Another tip that I have is babies have sleep cycles. I think it's like 45 minutes. We all do. We have like REM sleep and different types of sleep that's very scientific that I'm not going to get into because I don't quite understand. But basically we all have a sleep cycle where we go into light sleep, really deep sleep, light sleep, really deep sleep, light sleep again. And babies are no different. So you will notice when your baby's in that nap, when he's come out of a sleep cycle, and he will wake up momentarily. He might move around, she might move around and try and get comfy again, might give a grumble or a groan. And there's been many times where Freddie's done that and he's woke up, you know, having a grumble, being a bit grumpy. Sometimes he's even cried for a few minutes. But what I tend to do is I just tend to kind of sit there with the monitor and just assess again, like, is he needing me right now? Does he need for me to intervene? Or will he naturally carry on sleeping? One thing that I did, I think was wrong for me, was that every time he'd come out of his sleep cycle and he started grumbling and moaning, I'd think, oh, well, he's awake now, like, may as well go get him and get him up from that sleep cycle. And then he spent the whole day moaning because he hadn't had enough sleep. I actually got it confused that because it was the end of the sleep cycle and he was awake, that actually he wanted to be up and playing. Now, you know what it's like to have a very tired baby. They are not happy at all, and then once you've got them up out of the bed and you've got them changed into their clothes, they're not going to go back to sleep very easily. You've kind of dedicated yourself to the fact that they're up now, and they do, you know, they can get really fussy and it can just become really stressful. So just take a moment, and then again, like, if they are grumbling around and they're not settling, go in and just place your hand on them. I learnt this from Just Chill Mama, who does some courses. This is not sponsored, but this is one of the settling methods that I learnt from her. You just place your hand on the baby really firmly and you go shh, shh, shh for a few minutes, as long as it takes. Another thing that I learned from that course is to not pick the baby up unnecessarily, like just because they're crying or just because they're grumbling around, unless obviously like they're hysterical or you want to pick them up, you can. But when you pick the baby up, you're giving them mixed signals. You're taking them out of the bed, you're taking them out. It could really affect their chances of going to sleep because they're getting up, then they're going back down again, and how they're going to get comfortable and all those things. So I also don't really pick him up unless I really feel like I have to. And I do pick him up. Like, if he's crying, I'm going to pick him up. So that's something that I will always do, and I don't care what any expert says about that. So in terms of our nighttime routine, what we do is the same thing every time. Remember, we want to create a routine that the baby is familiar with, so he feels safe and he knows that this is time for bedtime. So we do play all the time, might do a little walk again, and then around 6:30 we start to get ready for bed. So we get his bottle ready because he has a bottle at bedtime, and we take him upstairs and we give him a bath, which he really likes and seems to really calm him down. Another trick that I will say is, if your baby's really fussy, generally babies love the bath, it really calms them down. So that's what we do with Freddie. If he's getting really tired, give him a bath and that will calm him down and soothe him. And we don't do loads of play in the bath. I know some people do, but because we want him to know that it's bedtime, we keep the play minimal and we just like have a nice calm time where we wash him and we talk to him. Might have some nice music on in the background, but just a calm bath rather than playtime. If you want to play in the bath, I'd probably do it earlier in the day, but we kind of want him to know that that sleep association is bath, it's bedtime, it's calming down. Once he's had a bath, we get him out, we get him all changed, give him his vitamins, give him cuddles and kisses, and then we go and feed him. We used to feed him to sleep, so we would give him his bottle in his sleeping bag, give him a cuddle, and then he'd fall asleep drinking, or he'd feel asleep on the bottle and then he'd go down from that. and then he'd wake up like screaming, because one minute he's having a bottle from his mum or his dad, the next minute he's like in the dark in this bed and he can't cope with the change. That's another thing, like if you feed them to sleep, they can get really like, where the hell am I? It's like when they fall asleep in the house and then you've took them to Tesco and they end up waking up in Tesco. Generally they get really startled, as you would. Like if you'd gone to sleep in your house and then you woke up in like Morrison's, you'd be like, what the hell? It's exactly the same with babies. So yeah, we don't do that anymore. We do not feed to sleep. So make sure that he's fed with all the lights on, because before we'd have all the lights off and it'd be really dark. So we have the lights on, so he knows that he is in mommy's room and daddy's room on the feeding chair. And then after that, to make sure he stays awake, that we put his sleeping bag on after the feed to know that he's awake and he knows where he is. Then again, we give him a cuddle, we read a book to him, and then we sing to him, and then we put him down. Now, 9 times out of 10, he just goes to sleep, like he does the grumbling and gets comfortable, and he'll sleep then until the dream feed at 10:30, straight through pretty much. And I think that really is because he feels like he knows where he is and he's done the same routine again. And I just want to comment on the feeding in general, because I know this can be a really conscientious topic about feeding to sleep, especially if you breastfeed, which I do and which I've done exclusively for the last 6 months. Number one, babies who are breastfed can sleep through the night. They can, because I am a living proof of that. So don't let that deter you from breastfeeding, because I know a lot of mums have been so tired, and I understand that they then put the baby on formula thinking that's going to kind of help, and it doesn't help, and then that can have a cycle then of the mom feeling upset, just because I know women like that who have done that, and it has upset them, and I understand that, because when you're so tired you'll do anything like to get your baby to sleep. And I genuinely thought we would never get to the point where he wasn't feeding to sleep, because that was just the cycle that we got into. But instead we feed him when he's awake, when he wakes up from his nap, or half an hour before his nap. I will admit that this new schedule that I've had has been a challenge, because I don't really like routine, I just don't. But it has helped so much, and actually now I can have time to, you know, do all the other things that I couldn't do before when Freddie napped, or, you know, I'm not as tired as you can see as I was before when I wasn't getting any sleep. I hope you've liked this video today, guys, and thank you so much for listening. I really hope this helps, and yeah, happy sleeping. And I hope you get some sleep tonight. I hope the naps go really well, and remember, things take time. It's not going to happen straight away. Got to be patient, got to persevere, and we're all in this together. You know, we're all sleep deprived together, and we've just got to stick together. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. I upload videos weekly on motherhood and lifestyle, and please like and subscribe. So yeah, at the moment we are waking up at 7. We are going to bed we're having a nap about 9:15 until about 11:15. Then we're having another nap around 1:30, 2-ish for another 2 hours, and then we've got 4 till 7. Freddie is always in bed by 7. This is just how he naturally falls. He loves to be in bed by 7. If we try and push that window, all hell breaks loose, so that's what we stick to.